Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Dr. Mondo. It's Tuesday night, and welcome to another episode. There you are. I was looking over here. There you are. Welcome to another episode of Rewriting My Story with Dr. Mondo. That's me, and this is an opportunity for you to tune in and be inspired by someone's amazing transformation story. We do this broadcast every Tuesday night. Why? Because we believe that we get caught up as a society and culture in before and after pictures, and we don't spend enough time telling the story behind the before and after photos. This show is essentially illuminating in a place where we could tell the stories behind those transformations. So all of you are drawn to the before and after pictures. Tonight, I'm gonna pull some up. You're gonna see some transformations tonight from tonight's guest, BJ Swingle. And you're gonna see some transformation photos of her. BJ is someone that I guarantee when you hear her story, you can all resonate with. There's so many of our viewers are women. So many of our viewers probably will hear elements of BJ's story where they go, wow, I could really relate to that a lot. And tonight, you're gonna be able to resonate and relate not just to the aspects of her story at the beginning or the middle parts, but you're gonna really resonate with the aspects of her journey now. So some of you have not made your journey into transforming your health, and you're tuning in because you're looking for inspiration. You're gonna see your before and after photos, and you're gonna go, I wanna look like that. Man, you're gonna see the photo of her in a minute when she logs on here, and you're gonna say, wow, I wanna be like BJ. But BJ doesn't understand what it's like to be me. She doesn't get what it's like to live through food addiction. She doesn't get what it's like to be overweight. She's never experienced some of the psyche of what goes on between the ears when you feel self-conscious about yourself. That's what's misleading about before and after pictures. That's why we have this broadcast. Because what gets lost in the after is the fact that BJ still is that same person in some ways. She's different now, not just physically. She's different in some ways, and you'll find out than she was before the transformation, but there's some aspects of her that made it through the entire transformation, and she is living testament to say that, yeah, I know what it's like to go through that. And if she knows what it's like to have gone through a transformation, what does that say for those of us out there that have gone through similar transformations ourselves? What does it say for people who are looking to go through transformations? This is a safe landing spot for anyone that is looking to be inspired to change, a safe landing place for anyone that has gone through or is going through a change. This is a place where we can all unite together and say, hey, I know that everyone out there says that this whole transformation is about calories in, calories out. And by the way, they're right, it is. But there's also more to the story. There's more to the equation in your relationship with food. If it was simple as calories in, calories out, we wouldn't have so many people struggling to lose weight. We wouldn't have so many people struggling to maintain their weight loss. What I fundamentally believe, and what I hope to invite you guys into believing the more time that you spend on this channel, is that there is more to the story than we have told for so long. That part of creating true transformation must not just be a physical transformation, but it also must be a mental and an emotional transformation. What am I saying? I'm basically saying in order for you to actually lose the weight, in order for you to be successful long-term, you must rewrite your story. You must figure out, what is the story that I'm telling about myself? Do I really believe in what we've identified as the core tenets of rewriting your story? Do you really believe you're worthy? Or is that a nice hashtag that you like to throw out on posts? But do you really believe it? Do you feel it in your bones? Do you really believe that you are lovable? Do you really believe you're enough right now the way you are? Or are there certain standards that you say, I'm not enough until I reach this number on a scale, until I see this jawline pop through when I hit the right angle on the bathroom mirror? Do you really believe that you're not defined by the number in your bank account, the number on the scale? Do you really believe that? You might agree with it, but do you believe it in your heart? Do you believe it in your bones? These are just some of the statements that I believe are foundational to rewriting your story. And the guests that I have on here, we're all a work in progress. I can tell you these statements. Do you think that I perfectly live out and breathe and personify every single one of them? Absolutely not. That's why it's rewriting my story, not I rewrote my story. Notice the language being intentional. So again, I don't care where you're at today. This is a broadcast that's going to inspire you. We're going to hear BJ's story. We're going to hear how her story has changed. We're going to take the Wayback Machine. We're going to hop in the DeLorean and go back to the future and go back to when she started her transformation. And we are going to find out what it was like for her on day one of her transformation. And I think that when we go back to day one or day 0 or day negative 20 days before her transformation, I think my sneaky suspicion is that you are going to resonate with something about her story. You're going to hear something tonight and you're going to go, wow, that's me too. I can resonate with that. And if she was in your shoes and you're struggling tonight and you're looking for hope, what does it say that you can relate to something that she went through? And you're going to look at her today and you're going to go, wow. You're going to hear her today and you're going to go, wow, what an amazing transformation story. I wish I could do that. And BJ is going to sit here and tell you, you can have that too. One of the great quotes that I heard a couple weeks ago, I think it was Josh LaJohny that kept saying it over and over. And I know that this is a popular quote in his Missing Chins Club, which group, or if you guys are here, throw a wow, throw something to let me know you're here. The results are typical. The results are typical. Now that is something that you're going to hear maybe BJ talk about. The results are typical for plant-based eating. They're going to talk about plant-based eating. Now I want to be clear about that. I'm a plant-based eater. But this broadcast is not all about plant-based eating. We're not going to talk exclusively about plant-based eating. Go check out Chef AJ's live show. Go check out Dr. McDougall's videos, Dr. Greger's videos. There are plenty of people in that arena that are going to tell you all the amazing things about plant-based eating, and the results are typical. You could eat this way, you could transform your body, you could lose weight, you can increase your energy, you can increase everything that's deficient right now. You can transform it all. The results are typical. But what we're also going to talk to BJ about tonight is the fact that when you really are courageous and brave and vulnerable like she is tonight to share her story, when you're really willing to examine yourself in this process, that's when the results are typical too. The results are typical for those people that make the effort to rewrite their story. When you make the effort to prioritize yourself in this transformation, when you can sit here and say, on day 1 of my journey or day 25, I'm worthy the way I am today. There's no number on the scale that can define that. Now you're getting somewhere. Now watch how you unlock success in your health transformation. Again, the results are typical, not just when it comes to the physical results, but also with the emotional and the mental results for those that put in the work. So talk about putting in the work. I'm going to show you this picture right here of someone who put the work in. And you could see this right here. I'm going to hold it up right there. You see that? Okay. So that's BJ. You could see that's her before and after photo. She, again, if you look at this before and after photo, there's some things that maybe you would assume, or there's some things that maybe that maybe you quite wouldn't fully get without hearing her story. So with no further ado, I'm going to quit talking our way through this hour, and I'm going to instead invite our guest on, and she's going to do the majority of the talking, and I'm just going to try to tee her up by asking the right questions, and so that's what we're going to try to do tonight. So BJ, if you could log back on and log off and log back on. For whatever reason, it's not allowing me to add you right now, so just log on, log back, log off, and log back on. I think that's the way to say it. So again, I want you guys to, while you guys are getting ready to watch this broadcast, I want you to let me know, what are the things that you want to ask someone that's transformed their life? Comment below right now. Here's another thing. If there's someone right now in your life, in your world, that needs to hear this message, that needs to hear an inspirational story, will you do me a gigantic favor and share this live broadcast right now? Look, we want numbers. We want eyeballs. We want people to be in front of this, but we want the right people in front of this. It doesn't matter if we have 10 people. If the 10 people are the 10 right people tuning in tonight, that's enough for us. It was a successful night to share our story. So again, share this, comment. I'm bringing in advance, BJ. I've been doing videos this is like almost 12 hours now, on and off of doing videos all day. So I'm jacked up. I'm fired up. I've been so excited to talk to you all day. And I know you just got home. So
yes.
Are you settled in?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had to go to a job site today, and I ended up having to stay there longer than I thought. So I'm home.
Oh, you're home. You're home. And you know what? And I'm trying to adjust the time out there. So it's like almost 9:30. What time do you normally make it to bed? Am I going to keep you up past your bedtime?
So I'm good. I'm usually in bed by 9. Tomorrow
Oh,
morning,
wow.
I can sleep a little late tomorrow.
Okay, well, we apologize in advance to your circadian rhythms, which are a very real thing, and we would like to apologize in advance. But thank you so much for taking time out to be on tonight. I've been wanting to talk to you since the beginning of all of this, which was back in January. So I'm so glad we get a chance to catch up.
Well, I'm so excited for you and watching your transformation. I can see how great you're doing, and
Oh,
I'm
thank you,
excited. I'm
thank
excited
you.
about
Yeah.
this.
Now you know Sharon McRae, my coach. You know her.
Yeah.
Is
So
she your
Sharon,
coach too, or?
so kind of yes, she helped me a
Okay.
lot in the beginning. So yeah, she can be my coach. But
Wow.
yeah, she's part of my day one transformation.
That is so amazing. So we got something in common right there off the bat, not just plant-based, but also Sharon. Is she not? I'm sorry, she doesn't do enough of this, so I feel like I have to do it for her. Is she not just the best? I mean,
She's
I love Sharon.
awesome. I
She's
mean,
just, man,
I could text her anytime. She always
right.
responds.
That
She's
is
always there.
incredible. I'm so bad with that. Like people will text me and I feel so, like it'll be on my mind and I'm like I want to respond but I'm so terrible with that. And Sharon is right back, not just with like a question of hey, how are you, or what's the weather like today. It's like she comes back with
Oh,
here's a
Sharon.
video link to the thing that you need to see that's going to change your life, and it always does. So I just, again, big shout out to Sharon McRae. If anyone's looking for a coach, she's not going to tell you to reach out to her, but I am. BJ is. She's an amazing coach. So tell me more about your journey, your journey, and let's take it back to the beginning here. How long ago? Give me the quick overview. How long have you been transformed, so to speak? Yeah, just give me an overview of that.
So when you say the beginning, I've had many beginnings.
Oh, good. Me
Um,
too. Okay, cool.
so what I like to always talk about is I've lost 60 pounds 6 times in the past 30 years of my life. So
Yes.
I've had many beginnings.
Yeah, me
And
too. Yeah.
so I feel that this time is the last time because I feel like I really learned how to live my life and learned how to eat. And I feel like this lifestyle that I have now is sustainable. I feel like I'm grounded in it and I feel like this is the way. So
Let
when
me,
you
let me,
say,
let, I
okay, go
was
ahead.
gonna, I'm sorry, I was gonna say that's so pivotal for people to hear that because people oftentimes will say, I'm almost afraid to, were you afraid to say what you just did there the first time you said it, this is the last time? How did you know it was the last time?
Because every other time I never learned how to eat or how to live. And this is the first time I learned how to eat, but I learned how to eat while I was losing the weight. So once I've got to my goal weight, which I don't know if I'm at my goal weight or not, but I just feel like I continue eating the way that I eat like I did this whole time I lost the weight. So I feel like there's no, this was me losing weight. Now I'm in maintenance. I feel like this is just as I was losing the weight, I was just living my life. And I never felt deprived or like I was on a diet.
Amazing. So part of what you would say then, I imagine, is key to long-term success then is kind of like in order for you to know it was your last time, you had to approach it differently. It couldn't be about, I have to lose X amount of pounds in order to, like, this was different. You really approached it in a different way, it sounds like.
Right. I never went about this way of eating as a hitting a goal weight. I mean, honestly, when I started, so I'm gonna tell you that the beginning for me probably was 2.5 years ago when um, I really grasped this way of living and this way of eating. And 2.5 years ago, when I started this way of living, I didn't know where it was going to take me. I was just living my life one day at a time.
So
And
living your life one day at a time. And again, I'm so passionate about this because, as you can imagine, there's people out there listening to these broadcasts who right now are feeling like they're living their life one day at a time. Go in the Wayback Machine, jump in the DeLorean for me, and let's go back to the Wayback Machine. You had lost the weight. Um, I'll tell you what, take me back. Like when you were growing up, were you a kid that struggled with your weight at all, or when did weight first start to become a struggle?
So yes, I come from a family of, I'm 100% Italian. We're all good eaters. I
Good
struggled with my
eaters. I
weight.
like that.
Yeah, we're all
Yeah.
good eaters. We all
Hmm.
ate well. And my whole life I was overweight. But I don't think I really realized I was overweight until I was around sixth grade. My maiden name is Abruscati. It was A-B.
Hmm.
So we were in alphabetical order in gym class, and we had weigh-ins, and the scale was right in front of me since I was the first in the line, and
They
I
made
got
you
weighed.
weigh in front of everyone. People. Wow.
Yeah, this is going back 1980. I mean, I'm 48 years old, so back when I was around, I think 10.
Yeah.
So, so right on 1980, the gym teacher had the scale right there. I weighed in. I was in the hundreds. I don't remember what it was. I think it was in the hundreds. And then everybody else was getting weighed in, and they were all in like, I don't know, I can't remember, like 80s, 80s, 90s. And I thought to myself, wow, why is my number so much higher than their number? And that was probably my first recollection of being larger.
And how does like if you can remember back to a fifth and sixth grade mind, not a current day version of you, an adult perspective, but how do you make sense of that? Like, does that equate to a core belief of I'm different or something's wrong with me? Or, like what does it mean to not to weigh more than other people when you're at that age?
I just remember the number, and I just remember thinking that was interesting. I don't think I thought I was different. Because I had friends. So like, I didn't
Yeah.
think I was any different, but I mean, I do know that I always had a hard time finding clothes when we had to go clothes shopping. So, yeah, so I just didn't, I guess back then, I mean, all I can remember is the number was high, and I just didn't understand that.
So when was the first attempt then that you decided that you were going to lose weight? How old were you when you tried that?
So that didn't happen until my senior year of high school. I
Okay.
had a crush. I had a crush on a boy, and he knew it. And I walked past him down the aisle in history class, and across the aisle, right as I passed, he said to the guy across the aisle, "She's way too fat." And I
Oh,
heard it. I don't know if he did it so I could hear it, but I sat down at my desk, and I do remember having that warm feeling of embarrassment. And I asked my mom if I can go on a diet.
so that was
And
so
yeah.
that moment there, that like you said, that warm feeling, I'm sure you can resonate with it now. Like what was that? Was that some panic and just probably, I imagine, like just being like heartbroken.
I was heartbroken, and I think I probably was trying to hold back from crying. So, yeah.
So that was the first time, like, and I can relate to that too. Like, it's interesting. My senior year was the first time I tried to lose weight. I was overweight, and I would never hear it verbalized much. I don't know. Maybe that's similar to you. That so actually hearing it, I imagine, was really powerful for you. And so that pushed you and motivated you to try to lose weight. So was there a lot of shame then in your first attempt to lose weight? Like something's wrong with me. I was labeled as fat by my crush. Was there a lot of shame around your first attempt to lose weight?
So I went to my mom and asked her if I can go on some diet. Talked to her about how I felt. I talked to her about, the boy and all that. And so she suggested I do a weight loss program that was essentially, it was Weight Watchers, but it was called Lean Line, but no one has never heard of it. So I guess it
Mm.
was a direct competitor back in 1987. It was called Lean Line. And so I was I was driving at that point. So I drove myself to the place. And I mean, I don't think I've had feeling of shame. I think I was I think I always go about things in an open mind. So maybe I was just going about it in an open mind. But
Well, so
so,
that's something
but
that
here's,
I want to. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
but here's the thing. So I went to the place, I got all the materials, and I brought it home. And the
Yeah.
thing is my mom did everything for me. She cooked all my
Mm.
meals. So I just ate whatever my mom put in front of me, like I always did. And,
So why?
I,
And that's you notice that now as being important to note. Why is that important to note?
because I didn't enable myself to do it myself. I
Okay.
depended on someone. And
Okay.
so I was completely dependent on her. And I, I remember one time I was very hungry on the diet and I was like, Mom, I'm really hungry. And she's like, well, have an apple. And I was like, no, I want food.
Yeah, that's not real food, right? I mean, come on. Yeah, I want like food.
So, so when I got to my goal weight, and then I stopped the diet and she stopped making the food for me. And then the weight came back on.
So again, and what a contrast. If you guys are just tuning in, talking to BJ Swingle, and she's talking about her weight loss transformation, she says this last transformation, it felt different, and I know it's going to stick. And in part because this is a long-term mindset that I have. The way I was eating to lose weight, even though that wasn't the main goal, was the way that, you know, I was gonna eat to live the rest of my life. And we're talking about her first attempt and how different that is, and how different is that for so many of us, even potentially right now, right? So I mean, looking back, that first attempt, there was, like you said, you weren't quite empowered yet to know what to do for yourself, but on top of that, it was very outcome dependent. I got my goal, and then all of a sudden, okay, then what? Back to what you were eating before, and
Yeah, so I got to my goal like the end of my senior year, and then I started, you know, community college the next year, and that's when the weight started coming back on because I was in a different lifestyle. I had, you know, I was now in a college setting and more of an adult on my own. I wasn't. I mean, I was still living at home. I lived at home for 2 years while I went to community college, but yeah, it's just a different lifestyle. You want to go out
different
and
life.
have fun with friends, yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
was
a lot
never,
of
I
that.
was never, yeah. Like I said, I was never grounded in how I was eating when I was on a diet plan. And then when I go to, you know, college, you know, all bets are off. I just went back to doing what I did before because I wasn't grounded.
So it was a lot of all or nothing, right? Like you were either all in or you were all out.
Yeah, definitely. When I was doing the diet plan, I was all in. When I was not doing the diet plan, I was all out.
Yeah, yeah. So that progressed, and you said there was 6 times. I know we might not have time to go through each of those six, but
I
here's the
know.
question I'm wondering is that and by the way, I'm 8 times losing the same 80 pounds. It's interesting. So 6 for 60, 8 for 80. So that's the key, everyone out there. If you got 90 pounds to lose, hit the ninth time, and that's when it stays off. Or just find plant-based eating right now, and that could change your whole life. I'm joking, I promise. You don't have to go through that many times. But yeah, so in those 6 times, a lot of what I hear so many times from people is, man, like every time, not only is it harder physically, it's harder mentally and emotionally. Did you find that? Did you find that when you approached this most recent transformation a couple of years ago, that there was some hopelessness that you had to kind of like move your way through because you were almost complacent, like, man, maybe I'm just not meant to be healthy, or maybe I'm not meant to be, in shape.
Well, that's funny that you say that because 5 years ago, I had just lost weight doing MetaFast, and
I'm
my husband,
familiar.
my husband and
Yeah.
I uh, came to eating whole foods, plant-based, or a vegan lifestyle 5 years ago by a family member who had lost 85 pounds following Dr. McDougall. We were so
Yeah.
impressed with it. We thought, okay, well, that's how we're going to keep this weight off from MetaFast because we never learned how to eat on MetaFast. And so the first 3 years, so 5 years ago, the first 3 years of those 5 years, we were trying to figure out how to eat a vegan, whole foods, plant-based way of eating. I gained all my
Interesting.
weight back because I was eating a lot of nuts and a lot of seeds and a lot of pasta and bread. And so after those 3 years, I said to my husband, I'm done trying to be vegan. It's not working for me. This is not
Wow.
working. So I said I was done. And then it was like there's another series of events that happened after that, which we'll talk about. But
Yeah.
yeah, like that clicked, that changed for me then.
Well, keep
So,
going. Your Honor, I want to hear more about. So yeah, yeah. Tell me
oh,
more about what kind of
okay.
unfolded.
Okay. So 5 years ago, we decided to become vegan or whole food plant-based. And I don't think I actually knew the whole term no sugar, oil, or salt when we first started doing that. And my first year, I didn't, I was Googling things, and the first person, I was like, I need to Google like plant-based for dummies. And when I Googled that, Juliana Heaver's book plant-based nutrition for, I don't know if it's for dummies, that came up. So then I started following her. And while I was following her, Chef AJ, her and Chef AJ did the chef and the dietitian YouTube videos. So then I started watching those, and I started to become engrossed with Chef AJ. So somewhere around the year, I think it was 2013, was when I read Chef AJ's book on process. And on the back of the book, she has an email address that you can email her any questions. And I started emailing her questions about stuff that was in that book. And she answered right away.
She answered. How cool.
It was amazing. I was like so starstruck. I'm like, wow, she's answering my questions.
Looking back, was that a transformational moment in your journey to have? I mean, that's like, it takes some courage, especially being through what you've gone through, to then find her and reach out and then have her reach back. That must be a pivotal moment, I imagine.
I guess I felt energized. It made me feel supported, and it just made me feel, like, and it just made me felt like in this plant-based community, we have leaders in this plant-based communities who people look up to as like rock stars, but they're just regular people that want to help people. There's no rock star fame by helping someone. It's just being humble. And so it's all part of the community. And the funny thing is people say, BJ, you're a rock star, but I don't consider myself a rock star at all. I just love helping people. And so Chef AJ answered a few of my emails, and she kept saying, you need to come to LA. And I was like, I'm never going to California. I'm a Jersey girl.
Whoa. Now we got to hold pump the brakes. What's the California bias about? We got to handle this right now.
I've been out there 3 times since.
I love the hands up. You're like, look, I've given it a shot. It's just not for me. Okay.
No,
right.
No, I've been there. I'm not saying I've been out there 3 times.
So you're not going back. Like, you've checked it off your list. I got it.
No,
okay.
We're going back.
That's okay.
I'll be back.
You'll be back. I'm gonna check Jersey off my list. It's okay. I'll make my way out there. I'll give it a shot. I'll be out there in like a week and a half. But anyway, keep going. So she tells you, come out to California. Yeah, you reach out to her. Keep going.
Okay, so then she sent me an email out of the blue, and she asked me if I was anywhere near Columbia, Maryland, because she was coming to speak at one of Sharon McRae's event. And I said, well, I was like, oh, well, it's only a 3-hour drive from me, so I'll definitely drive down to see you if you're doing that. And I don't even know who Sharon McRae is. So Sharon McRae had her first immersion, and I think it was in the spring of 2014. Sharon, correct me if I'm wrong. And so that's when I and my husband drove down and met. Sharon had an immersion. She had Chef AJ, and I forgot who else were the speakers there. I only remember it was her. I was so starstruck to meet her. And Chef AJ started talking about her ultimate weight loss principles at this event. It was before she had posted it online, which she has now.
So she has that, by the way. If we can get that at the end, we'll throw that in there, because people, I'm sure, are going to be asking for those principles. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Cool. So anyway, so Chef AJ was teaching her program at the event, and everything I was just listening to it, and it was all going over my head, and I didn't really grasp things, and I don't know why I didn't grasp it all, but I didn't follow it then. So 2014 goes by, and I didn't follow all her principles. And then January of 2015, Chef AJ starts her ultimate weight loss program on the Facebook. She has a Facebook page where you pay $149.99. I always say 150. She corrects me on that.
And, no, 149. There's a big difference.
Yeah, $149.99. You pay that, and you get access into the private Facebook page, and she sends you her videos and recipes. And that was January of 2015, and I jumped into that, and I started to lose a little bit of weight, but I still wasn't grounded, and I ended up gaining it back because I fell back into some of my old ways.
So you fell back into your old ways. What is grounded and what is your old ways? Because you said grounded a couple times. What is that? What do those words mean to you? Grounded in your old ways. Yeah. So
old ways is, I guess, to me, that's the terminology I use, is, just eating a lot of junk food. So I pretty much committed myself to being vegan 5 years ago, not eating animal product, but I still struggle with the dairy, even though dairy is animal product, I know, but like, so I should say
Yeah.
meat, but so, yeah, so my old ways is eating a lot of chips, drinking a lot of wine, and eating the cheese. So,
And let me
yeah.
ask you this, in hindsight, looking back, uh, you know, I know we talk about emotion, but do you think that some of that was like your way of responding? And I'm not justifying it, but was some of that like emotional eating, stress eating, or like you would get in those places of feeling those types of ways and you would go to those old behaviors, or how do you make sense of that?
So definitely was stress eating. During that time, my husband and I were struggling to get pregnant for the second time. We were very
Wow.
lucky and blessed to have our son Philip. My husband and I got married when I was 38, and he is much older than me. And
Okay.
I got pregnant right away, no problems. Had an easy pregnancy with Philip, and it was a fun and easy labor.
Oh,
So I said to the nurse when we were leaving the hospital, "We'll see you next year." Thinking,
yeah.
it was so easy. We can have another one, no problem.
Yeah, yeah. Optimistic, but also you just been through all of that. And you're like, here we go. I'll see you again. Wow. Okay.
And that wasn't the case. And
Oh,
we actually went through a series of, I say, 5 miscarriages. 3 of the 5 were,
ugh.
like around 6 weeks. So they, was, I guess it just dissolves itself. But 2 of them, I had to actually have the procedure of the removal of the D&E. So
Oh my
I did go
gosh. I'm
through,
sorry.
and during that whole time, my father had pancreatic cancer, and he was going on. We had him at his home with hospice care uh, for 9 months while he passed away, and it was very stressful. So yes, a lot of stress.
Oh, sorry. You were just cutting out.
So
Horrible timing and cutting up a little. I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi or yours.
yeah, you keep
Can
cutting
you
off
hear
a
me?
little bit too.
I do. Okay.
Yep,
I think
yep.
we're caught up now. So you went through 5 miscarriages, and at the same time of going through that, you got dad going through pancreatic cancer, and you ultimately
Right.
lost him in all of that.
Yeah. hmm Yeah. Yeah. He passed away August 1st of 2011.
And you started your change. So here you are. This is kind of always what takes me aback. I'm just putting myself in your shoes, and I'm thinking that is so much loss to deal with.
Right.
Um, how is it that you, out of all that loss, somehow a year later or so is when you start really transforming things, right? Like, I mean, like, or how long ago was it after the losses that you started to transform your health?
Well, I was doing Medifast during the time my father was on hospice, and then when he passed away towards the end of 2011, 2012 is when we started to. So here's an interesting note: is when my father was trying to fight the cancer, even though it's pancreatic cancer. He read so much about vegetables, and he was drinking asparagus puree like every day. Like he would puree it in the blender, and he was eating it like he was trying to save his life. And I
Oh man.
remember staring at him, thinking about it, like, why did why is he so dependent on this vegetable to save his life? I just didn't fathom it. And at that time, he was reading as much as he could, and he
Because he
thought,
was, yeah, because he thought that
because he
that
was
would be
desperate.
some. Yeah, he was desperate. And so as you were taking that in, um, did that almost convince you more of, or make you more curious about the power of that way of eating? Or
I have to say that was one of the first times that uh, a situation with someone eating a vegetable struck a chord with me, because I was trying to understand. Like, to me, vegetables was never a thing. Honestly, to be perfectly honest, it's not that I hated vegetables. It's just that I never bothered with vegetables before in my life, because I would buy them and they would just go bad. So why would I buy them? right?
Totally.
I should be
It's like
eating
those
them.
people, it's like those people on the side of the road. They're like, here, take this flyer for this event that you could care less about. It's basically like, here, can you throw this away for me? I was the same way. It was like, here's vegetables. Here, can you just put that in that fridge for a while, then just throw it away? Cause I'm not going to get to them. So I totally get it.
I mean, so to see my father eating asparagus, and plus, I mean, any vegetable I've ever eaten before that somebody else would have made was drenched in oil and all the seasoning. So to me, I just thought it was fattening, so vegetables, I don't know. So it definitely struck a chord with me to understand like what. So when around that same time, another family member of ours had just lost 85 pounds following Dr. McDougall.
Mm.
She was sending us all this information. And so I would say somewhere towards the end between Thanksgiving and Christmas of 2011, I watched Forks Over Knives and said to my husband, I want to be vegetarian. He watched Dr. Greger's Top Leading Causes of Death and told me he wanted to be vegan. I thought they were the same thing. And I said, okay, we can do this. I didn't know vegetarian and vegan were two different things.
Yeah. Yeah. Early on, there's a lot of people right now that even are watching that don't know there's a difference, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's what started both my husband's and mine journey into diving into this world.
I know Richard, who was our guest last week, Richard Hubbard, and hey, Richard,
Hi,
good to
Richard.
see you as always
I saw
on
him on
here.
here.
Richard I know he was great, right? Oh man, and totally very inspirational. He just asked a question on here that came across my mind too. In a sense, losing your dad and your dad doing that research, was there something that you think primed you to when you watched Forks Over Knives and when you started to think about this way of living that really made you say yes? Like, was there something about making the commitment that was different in post losing your dad?
Well, so there's more to people that I've lost. So when I was 29, my mother passed away from complications of diabetes, and she was only 53. So and that's 19 years ago. So my mom suffered many years with her complications of diabetes. I think she was diagnosed somewhere around the age of 40. And I was probably, I was like a teenager. Well, here's the funny thing is while she was suffering from diabetes, she was making my diet food for me and helping me to lose weight. And she wasn't. So
she wasn't helping herself. Yeah.
She was helping me before she was helping her. She was putting the air mask on me before putting the air mask on herself, right? When you're on the plane, what do they tell you? Put the air mask on yourself so you can help other people.
And you know what? There's people watching right here that are parents that probably can relate to that too, right? And that's a sobering realization that for some of us, sometimes we want so much for our kids, but we forget about ourselves. We lose ourselves in the shuffle. And ultimately, when it comes to our health, there's only so much opportunity we have with that.
So my father had remarried, and he was married to my stepmom, and she took great care of him. And when he was dying, she took awesome care of him. I mean, I helped too, but she did. I mean, I'll say I did. She did like 70% of the work, and I did 30% because she loved him so much. But during that time when my father was dying, ironically, my aunt, who was my mom's sister, who was very close to me, died unexpectedly from a stroke. So I had a lot of. So when my aunt died, I had lost my mom, my dad, and then my aunt, and I was 42, and I was the oldest female on my mom's side of the family at age 42.
Did you ever have a thought come across your mind like there's something fatalistic about that, like, oh, I'm next, or it's a matter of time, or did you ever think something like that?
I thought that often, especially every time I hit my highest weight, and I had a hard time breathing, or hard time going to the bathroom, or I just didn't feel alive. And I always felt it then. And when I met my husband, I had lost weight loss number 4, doing Weight Watchers, and we were cycling, and that's how we met. We met riding our bikes in a bike club.
Love that.
and we were cycling. I felt alive. And so at the time when I was watching Forks Over Knives, I was pretty much desperate. And it wasn't because I had any health issues. So that's the other thing too. Like all these amazing stories that we hear about from a plant-based diet is people who've had some kind of health issue. Or for me, it was just, honestly, it was my weight. And I was afraid of getting big because I wasn't going to be able to do the things that I used to do. And to me, it started off a little bit as vanity, but then, watching Forks Over Knives and realizing that it really was about my health, because the more I was overweight. And so my brother, my only brother, only sibling, he had a heart attack at age 48.
Oh,
And so I'm 48 now.
oh my gosh.
But he had a heart attack, and he ended up having open heart surgery with triple bypass.
Yeah, triple bypass. And how is he doing now?
I think he's doing fine. So my brother lives down in Georgia. We don't talk as often as most siblings do, but he's doing well from what he tells me.
But there's this theme again of just so many people in your family that are having health problems. And I bring up the fatalistic thing because I think there's probably people out there. And again, if you guys want to type in or throw a like or something, if you could relate, some people really believe that when you see so many people in your family go through traumatic health problems, that you're next up, and there's no point in even trying, especially when you're overweight. You're thinking, I'm overweight. Everyone in my family has at some point had a massive health condition take their life or nearly take their life. It must be me next. What's the point? And I see a lot of people throwing like stuff, which say they don't like that, but they can relate to that. So again, I'm fascinated by that though, BJ, because what I'm hearing, and I know everyone's hearing this, is that, and I'm so glad that you're sharing this, is that you have gone through so much loss and you have had every reason to believe this story about yourself, that, part of being a swingle or part of being in your family was that eventually you were going to have your life taken at an early age, that you would never be healthy, that you wouldn't be able to do the things you wanted to do. I'm just so curious how someone in that position, how you in that position somehow was inspired, and actually not just inspired, but put action in a different direction. How do you make sense of that? Because that really blows my mind.
Well, so I've always been a positive thinker my whole life. I think it was just something I was born with. I mean, there's been periods of my life where I've made some poor choices, and I've gotten myself out of those situations. I mean, I didn't meet my husband until I was 36. So prior to meeting my husband, then I was in and out of many not good for me relationships. So, but I always had hope that I was destined to have a better life than everything that I had myself in. And
Love that.
I just felt like I don't know. I've always felt like I deserve better in my life, but the life I have now is the life that I felt I deserved. So, I mean, I have a great husband. We both have great, good jobs, and we have a great house. We have, we're blessed, and we are lucky to have one healthy son. And I just always lived on the whole. I've always been a positive. I've always been a dreamer. And
so your dream survived and it came true. Like I'm just noticing that, like, as you're telling your story, you had all these opportunities to, like, you're living your dream, which first of all is beyond amazing. But the fact that your dream survived through all of the loss, through all the heartache, through all the pain, through all the trials and tribulation, that to me says something about you.
I've always been a hard worker. I've always, I mean,
Yeah, I'd say so.
I've always been a hard worker. I mean, I started working since I was 16. I've worked my way through college. My parents weren't able to pay for me to go to college. Took me longer to get through college just because I had to work full time when I went through it. And everything I've had in my life prior to marrying my husband is everything I've worked for. So, yeah, I mean, I just feel that I've worked hard for it, and being with my husband, my life's been, a little bit easier because he has a good job. So
There's people that I see comments going crazy. And guys, by the way, keep commenting, keep asking questions. We see them. We're going to come back to them at a certain
I
point.
can't see.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll look at them. You just keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great and just so inspirational. One of the things, and when I'm listening to each story each week, I'm trying to take different nuggets out of them and then try to give them back to the listeners and viewers. One of the things that I'm really struck by right now is this power in, you said positivity, and I'll take it a step further, this belief in this life that you're living now is possible. How vital do you think it is for people who are right now, and if you could speak to some of those people that are tuning in and they're feeling hopeless and they're feeling like they're destined to be just like every other family member, and they're not sure if they believe quite like you did that they deserve the life they want. What would you say to them about the power of believing in it?
So I have this thought that I thought of just recently, and I think I want to share that now, but also reach off onto it. But
Yeah,
I spent my life with my mom, watching my mom live dying because she struggled with diabetes. I want my son to watch me live my life living.
that's it.
So, I feel like that's my why. And my son, my father lost his mother at age 8 from a heart disease. And so my son is 8. I can't imagine him not having me. I mean, I'm his mom and he loves his mom. So for those people who are struggling, and I have some of those people on here right now that I talk with often, and some of them I text with, and I try to help them. So I can see them on here, and I just say, just today, just do the best that you can today, and then tomorrow do better than you did yesterday, and then just focus on today. Don't focus on what your long-term goal is. Focus on getting through today and making today your best.
I mean, I'm so struck by that, and thank you for that. I'm so struck though by so focus on today. Let's
Yes.
work backwards. Focus on today. Do the best you can today, and then
Mm-hmm.
make tomorrow better. Again, there's something that remembering that when we turn the page and we start a new day, there's a new opportunity, is what BJ's saying, and that you have an opportunity right now. You have a choice in front of you in your next meal of what you're gonna do. Are you gonna fuel your body? Or are you going to put some things in your body that you know are going to weigh you down in lots of different ways? What's going on right here? What happened?
Are you fueling yourself or are you fooling yourself?
Come on. Wow. Are we making t-shirts off this? Because I like that one. I like
That
that
one's
one,
good.
but I love, I don't know if we want to make a shirt out of this or if it's just something I want to remember and take with me in my relationship with my son. Now, say what you said at the beginning, that thought. It's a powerful one about you spent your whole life watching your mom dying.
No, I watched my mom. I watched my mom living her life dying. I want my son to watch me living my life living.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you right now, something you already know, but I'll just give you like some research. We'll throw some research behind it. That's it. Like all in a nutshell, if we're trying to boil down to what makes someone successful long term, if some of you are wondering what's going to make BJ or what has made BJ so successful, it's that she said, catch this. She said, at one point, I started my journey out of a little bit of vanity. That's okay. What does it evolve to? Your why can transform. Your why can change right now, listening to this broadcast, listening to what BJ just said. It can transform into something bigger than what it started out as. That's okay. But it needs to be long term. And some of you have kids, and that's a really easy heartstring to pull because it's pulling mine, having kids. You could feel the same way and say, wow, I never thought of it like that. What are my kids watching with me? There's others of you that don't have kids, and you're saying, oh, yet another time when I can't relate to someone because I don't have kids. Guess what? It comes down to making your life bigger, and it must be legacy based when it comes to your why. So BJ's talking about something she's going to be remembered for. She's talking about something that she's living each day that people will talk about in the past, or kids will talk about that. You don't have to have kids in order to live this type of way. There are people that are important in your life that you can set an example for. There are people in your community, they're the loved ones. They will remember. Those will be the people that you can have in the position of watching you live, like she talks about watching it. So again, there's so much good stuff in that. So much good stuff in that.
Good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. But life is for those people who don't have kids. I mean, and they're trying to find their why, and maybe they're stuck at home on the couch and they don't know. I mean, life is amazing. Life is amazing. Life is what you make of it, and to get out and just walk and smell the great air. I mean, even in the wintertime, to get out and move and smell. I mean, it just fill your lungs up with air. That feels great. To me, that feels great.
Yeah, gratefulness and mindfulness is part of what makes BJ successful at what she does. We're hearing these nuggets. Positivity is something she exudes. Resilience is a word that we haven't used, but I know you've been thinking it, and so I'm going to reflect it back. And I say they are thinking it, and you better be thinking it too. She's incredibly resilient. She has incredible belief in her dreams and the things that she wants to see herself achieve. These are all tenets to someone that's been successful. We are demystifying the after picture. Some of you look at that after picture and you go, oh, I can't, you're seeing it in front of you right now. You're like, that's not me. She can't relate. But that's how she got there. So again, that's what I want you guys to take away as you're listening. We're going to fast forward now a little bit, and jump back and forward to today. And I know that we missed some bits and pieces, but
Okay.
Are there certain things about yourself that you think about yourself, or you believe about yourself, certain beliefs you have, or that you never had before, like they're brand new, that came with this health transformation?
So 2.5 years ago, when I started being grounded in how I was going to eat this way and live this way, under the watchful eyes of Chef AJ, but I started walking more than I used to, and then I started running just a little bit more, and I joined our town's boot camp. We have boot camp here in town. I joined that through our rec center, and I mean, I was just like dipping my toes in and doing it, and then I started running more, and then I signed up for a 5K, did a 5K, signed up for an 8K, did the 8K, and then I signed up for the 6-mile run that we have here, running across the Ben Franklin Bridge. It goes from New Jersey to Philadelphia, and I did that with Tim Kaufman. Wow. And Anthony Masiello and Kathy Masiello and Heather Kaufman. And we got done with it, and Tim says, all right, time for your half marathon. And I was like laughing because there's no way. After 6 miles, I was dying. And he says, yeah, I want you to do the half marathon, and I want you to come do it up in Buffalo with me. And so I was like, okay.
What time of year was this?
So that bridge run was in November, and the
cold.
Yeah, it's cold.
I'm a California. It's cold. Go ahead. Yeah.
And then the half marathon was going to be the end of May. So from that November to the end of May. Wow. So I had to train all winter. And I don't have a gym membership. I don't have a treadmill in my house. It's all training outside through the winter.
Training outside. So was there ever a day when you woke up and, I don't know, was it like, I don't know. It doesn't snow here, so I don't imagine it snows in New Jersey, right?
It snows. Oh, it snows.
You're like, yeah, it does. I'm just trying to figure out because you have to understand here in Sacramento, if it rains, it's shut down. Like people are like, are we gonna go to work today, or are we just gonna shut it down? Let alone get out and actually run in the rain. I like to run in the rain, but that's a different story.
Cool.
Now, if it's snowing, like you would run on those days?
It depends on what kind of snow it is, but
that's wow.
The only fear I have about running with the snow is I'm afraid that there's not going to be any sidewalks shoveled, or the roads are going to be shoveled or plowed. So I use definitely discretion on that, on if I decide to go or not. We do have an elliptical machine, but you know, when David and I used to cycle, people would be like, "Oh, you're gonna do spin class?" I'm like, "No, I just like being outside."
Yeah.
I'm not really a spin class person, so being inside doing elliptical wasn't always my thing. So what I do tend to do is through the winters, and this is my third winter now with this journey. I do more boot camp classes than I normally do. So like January and February are like my heavy months of doing boot camp, but boot camp is 1 mile from here, and I have a rule that I try not to drive that 1 mile even through the winter. So I run 1 mile to boot camp, do the boot camp, and then I take usually a scenic route home. But like, so boot camp for our town is $30 a month, which is cheap. It's a great program. And you can take unlimited classes. So this past January, I broke the record and I did 40 classes in the month of January.
Are you 40 classes? You didn't take a
And
day
I
off?
work full time. And I work full time.
What excuses right now are you trying to use on BJ? Because she right now is crushing your excuses. I'm telling you right now. Now, I started that question with, is there anything that you ever would have predicted? So if I would have went up to that little girl in 6th grade, or if I would have went up to that, you know, to you in your 20s, or you right after you watched Forks Over Knives, and I said, hey, just so you know, one day you're gonna be breaking records at the local gym for how many boot camp classes you do, and just so you know, there will be a day where it's snowy outside, and you're like, well, use a little discretion, but you could still run, and I'm gonna run a half marathon. Like, what would you have said if I would have been able to say that to?
I would have
that
laughed
version
at
of
you. I would have laughed
You would
at
have
you
laughed.
because I laughed at Tim when he told me come run a half
Wow.
marathon in Buffalo, and I just laughed at him. But
Wow.
I've ran 3 half marathons since.
You've ran 3. Look at that. And so what was that like for you to run even the last couple? What's that been like for you to just say that?
Well, to say that, it's amazing. It's really cool to run half marathons. But I can't wait to say that I've ran a full marathon. But I have to tell you, my first half marathon, I
Oh,
started
look at
cursing
you.
at mile 6. I started cursing at mile 6. Um, I even flipped the bird to my husband around mile, I don't know, 11 or something.
Oh my gosh. This was worse than your childbirth experience. It was relatively smooth, like you said. This was mile 6. He's like, okay, I'm getting away. I don't want to. He knows better, right? Not to talk. So, but then, did you ever turn a corner and enjoy it, the first one, or the first one you just got through it?
The first one, I hated and didn't think I was going to do another one. I think I told him I'm never doing that again. The second one, the funny thing about the second one is I totally believe in angels being sent to us. I started running
Cool.
next to a pacer, and I ran with her the whole time, and I ended up PRing my second one, and I ran with her the whole time, and now we became friends. I didn't even know her from the day before. And then my third one, the funny thing about my third one was a couple of weeks ago. It was down in Delaware, which is an hour from here. We were babysitting two kids that were friends of ours. I'd promised them I'd babysit their kids that night because they had to go out to a gala. So not only did we have kids sleeping over the night before, I had to get up really early to drive myself an hour to Delaware, ran a hilly half marathon, and came home.
Are you kidding me? Look at that. Yeah, you flex on him. And I'm going to go back. And yeah, there you go. Exactly. Flex on him. And that is a rock star. By the way, a bunch of people are taking issue with you for saying that you aren't a rock star. Earlier when you were saying that, they're like, yeah, she is a rock star. And I will validate that you are absolutely a rock star. I mean, what I love about this is that you're putting it in such perspective, because the people that liked the comments or put wow, or they put sad, or they had comments early on saying, I can relate to what it's like to be in 5th or 6th grade and realize I'm bigger than other kids, or I can relate to what it's like to go on that liquid diet or reach the goal weight and all of the set. People who could relate to all of that. I don't know if you're at where BJ's at. Now, I'm sorry, I'm not talking bad about you. Chances are you're not where BJ's at, and that's okay, because we all need rock stars to inspire us. But let me tell you that if you resonate with BJ's story, if you've dealt with major loss, if you felt hopeless, if you felt like your life was fatalistic and it was headed for an early death, if you felt like maybe you weren't destined to have the life that you wanted, guess what? If you could resonate with any of the things that she said in the first half of her interview, that means you too. I mean, right? Can't people also have what you have now if they put that, like you said, one foot in front of the other, and really take each day, like you were mentioning earlier, just to do the best they can?
Well, I feel that I love helping people, but I feel that people need to take ownership of it themselves. They need to make it work for them. I mean, I can tell you how I did it. I can tell you exactly what I ate all in one day, but you have to take ownership of it for yourself,
That's good.
because
Yeah.
because that's how it's going to be sustainable. You know, if I hold, like, my mom held my hand for the longest time, and when she wasn't holding my hand, I didn't know how to do it. So, I try to teach my son to put his laundry away at age 8. He helps me carry in the groceries. I want to enable him, and he has self-pride in doing something when he achieves it. So I have self-pride in what I did because I did it myself, and I can sustain it because I know what to do. It's become my part of my life.
And that's big too, as we're taking out nuggets from today's interview. Another thing is looking at BJ's story and realizing a big part of her story is empowerment, and believing that you have to take control of things, because I mean, like, what a transformation, again, to think about rewriting your story. You went from someone that felt disempowered when it came to knowing what to do with your health, to someone that is now empowering others with their health. That's pretty
I hope.
amazing. Yeah, you are. I'll answer that for you. You are. Yeah, without clearly, you can't see the comments, because if you
I can't
did,
because, well, twofold. I don't have my glasses on because I have the glare in my glasses, so I can't read without my glasses.
okay. There are so many amazing comments on here, guys. Oh my gosh, if I kept scrolling, my moderator Ashley, who, by the way, she says BJ is my spirit animal. Ashley loves you. She's like, I
I
can't
love
wait to give
her.
her a hug. Yeah, she's like, she's my spirit animal. Isn't she my spirit animal? Anyway, you guys are gonna love each other. But there's so real quick, guys. If you are trying to ask a question, please ask your question again right now, and we'll go back. BJ, if we can go back to the questions that are in, we'll type in, but I want to take some of these before we log off tonight and just be able to answer some people. So if you have questions, ask your questions, and you're still on here. Catherine Plum, how's it going, Catherine? I saw
Oh,
your
I love
comments
Kat.
throughout here too. Yeah, she says BJ is an inspiration.
I love Kat.
100%. Yeah. So again, if you have more questions, go ahead and ask those. While we're doing that, I want people, because inevitably people are going to hear your story and go, how do I get more of that in my life? Shelly McCrillis says, BJ inspires me every day. How are all these people getting? That's what I want to answer for the other people that are loving you, and they're like, how do I get in front of her? Like, do they got to join a group? Do you have a blog? Do you have a like, what are you doing? Yeah, how do people get in front
So
of you?
here's the funny thing. I started a blog. It's called Veggie Jersey Girl. I wrote one thing in it,
Wow.
and I haven't done anything since because I work full time. I have another job that has nothing to do with this way of living. Uh,
What is it? What is it?
and
Yeah.
oh, for 25 years, I've been in the office furniture industry, whether
Oh,
as a
okay.
furniture designer or specifier. But right now, I work for a financial institute doing move management and furniture buying. So
Okay. So like
yeah.
you, so you're busy, but it's called Judgy Jersey Girl.
Veggie.
I swear to you, I thought I heard judgy, and maybe that was my own pain that I had earlier from the California comment, and we'll handle that one in person, because I need to
Mickey.
I need to have some moments of healing with that.
I need to correct Mickey. Mickey, we've known each other for 30 years, not 25.
Come on, where are those other 5 years ago? Anthony was one of our first guests. He says, what's your next race, BJ?
Leadville, Colorado.
Is
Leadville,
that in June?
Leadville, Colorado, June 16th.
I'm so frustrated. Jason, when I had Jason on here, Jason was saying, you gotta go.
Dr.
I just
Mondo.
don't think there's any way. Oh my God. Like, you guys make me, I want to, every time I interview you guys, you make me want to go run. And now I'm like, could I really train in 1 month to get there? It just, for anything, I want to be out there to meet all of you guys. Like,
Oh,
like
you should
everyone
come.
that I've
It's gonna be
interviewed.
total fun.
But then
It's gonna be.
but if I'm there, like I'd want to run. Anyway, we'll sort this out. I'm going to see you soon, hopefully in person.
I
And
think
we
you
have
can
thought
just
about it.
hike it. You can just hike it.
I want to run it. I want to run
Yeah.
it. If everyone's running it, I see I'm getting competitive.
Anthony.
What's he said? You need to go.
An-
I know. I really want to. Like I said, if
You're
nothing else,
young. You can
to
do
meet
it.
everyone. I know. Okay. I would love to.
I'm an old lady.
If you could, oh, whatever. If you could find a way to like convince me that I have enough time to like somewhat train for it. I was just telling Ashley today, I was like, I really want to, like, I love just the thrill of stuff. So it's like, I would love to just try to see if I could run a half marathon this weekend. Cause I've ran some, but it's been a while. And I've ran some half marathons, but it's been a while. And I really am like wanting to test how far I could take this plant-based thing. Like, ooh, I could go plant-based and not train and then go do a half marathon. So maybe I'll make it fun and then like just have ambulance ready in case I'm on the sidelines or something. You guys will save me. Or maybe I'll be like you at mile 6 and I'll start, flipping people off and all of a sudden be like, this is the worst decision of my life, but I'll make it. So as long as I make it, I guess.
I mean, so I go about it. And I'm not trying to win the race, obviously. Eventually, I would like to win my age category because, I'm going to be up there in the higher ages. I'm going to run long enough that I can win my age category. But I just go out there and I enjoy it. And I try to do the best I can. I mean, if I got to walk, I walk. But
yeah, but you get out there. And it's amazing, too. Like, one of the things that I was thinking about this. When I was running my half marathon, like my first couple, I thought there's no kinder people than the people that actually go out on like mile 7 and hold up a sign and just cheer people on. I'm like, there's something about the running community that's so amazing. And the only time I've ever talked about a community like that is when I meet folks in the plant-based community. And now I'm starting to get it. You guys are all intertwined. Like, the people on the sidelines who are so loving and encouraging, and like you said, there's no agendas, I want to just help people. Those are runners, and those people are also plant-based people. Like, those communities, there's something to be said just about, I don't know, just so many good people in those communities.
Yeah, it's been great. And when we go to these conferences or these talks, and my husband's like, we heard it all already. We just go for the socialization of being with like-minded people.
That is so huge. I mean, yeah, that's one of the key tenets of success. So yeah, that's so huge.
Totally, because people go to church every Sunday to have their empowerment. Yep. We try to go to as much events as we can, within reason, and to have empowerment.
I love it. Speaking of events, and I know, and guys, again, if you have more questions, go ahead and throw those in there. Speaking of events, what are the odds that when I'm in New Jersey, even though that you would actually come out to the event that I'm going to have? Is there a way that you can get out there?
Into Point Pleasant?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How far is that?
It's about an hour and a half from me, but I grew up in that area. That's the area that I grew up in.
Interesting.
That's where I hung out and got into a lot of trouble.
So I'm going to need to know those places. We'll have my videographer there. Maybe we'll shoot like a little trip down memory lane where you could tell us all the places and reflect back and, all that stuff. So I would love it if you could come out. That would be really cool.
But that's May 17th, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah. Is that not good?
Yeah. 'Cause I'm doing a Leadville training run that night.
Oh my gosh. So you're running to Point Pleasant. That's awesome. And then you can, right? I mean, that's not that far, right? That's like an hour. That's probably that's like a 13 miles, something like that. I'm serious. We're going to work out the logistics. I'm going to have your spirit animal, Ashley, text you. We'll figure this out. But no, I would love to meet you in person. And I have to really, I really need to kind of somehow find a way to get in front of you guys. There's some more questions in here too. So, Peg Olson is saying, yes, come hang out with us, BJ. She would love to meet you. Rob Stewart, Rob on the Road. There's an amazing national program that's called Rob on the Road. Rob's based out of Sacramento, and just had a chance to do a really, really cool Facebook Live with him. He actually has his own story, and I don't want to get too excited, but I think he's going to be on this program at some point. Rob is a personality that so many people are drawn to, and they know him, and they love what he does on his show. Has a very inspirational program, but he's also gone through a weight loss transformation. And I don't know if he's talked about it a ton, but he wants to talk about it. But he has a question for us. He says, why do you do what you do? What calls you to life? And he's saying each of us. So I want you to go first, because that's a very deep question. Go first. So BJ, why do you do what you do?
Well, I think that goes back to my saying how I have my son watch me living. I want to be present for him. I want to be present in life. I mean, I have a great husband. I want to be alive for him. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
And what calls you to life?
What's that? What is it?
What calls you to life? Like, what do you feel called to do? Is the way I interpreted that. Yeah.
Oh, I've always been a social. I like to help people.
Yeah.
So right, would it be? So like I like to, know
Yeah.
what I really, so I love able to talk to people and help people and make them feel motivated. I feel like that's always been my strong point. But what I really would love to do is, we have a food pantry here in town, and I really want to collaborate with the food pantry and to be able to help the people who come to the food pantry, to help them be able to pick out the foods that are better for them, and to show them how they can eat on a budget.
Oh, yeah. To be able to get that is one of the greatest forms of activism that we could currently be protesting and being activists in our own right, in impoverished neighborhoods where there's limited income and there's limited education around food choices like that. I would love it. I would love it for you to follow that calling. And you're already helping and encouraging people. That would just be a more specific route to that. And I'll just say real quick, Rob, to answer that question, why do you do what you do? Very, very similar in a sense that I had a dad that I think really didn't take care of his body, unfortunately. Amazing person. He struggled with bipolar disorder. That's part of the reason why I'm helping people, I think, in mental health, and why I believe it's so important. But he also struggled with alcoholism, and he self-medicated a lot. And I self-medicated with food. And so for me, a lot of why I do what I do is because I really believe that I've lived through those things, and it's important to inspire others. I feel called to basically get all the people on the sidelines back in the game. That's the easiest way I could say it, is that there's people that every week I feel like I want to just inspire, encourage, similar to what you were saying, BJ. And yeah, I just feel called to do that. And there's many different ways to do that, but certainly I think this particular topic, obesity and weight loss, and there's a lot of shame around it. And so wherever there's shame, that's where I want to be around, because we're talking about slaying shame. That's where I want to be. So that's why I feel called to that. We got Ashley says, Jersey folks, come visit us. She's dropping in a link. Yes, Sherry, I'm definitely coming to Jersey, and yes, there's only one event, but look, when I go on the road, I got to leave my 7-week-old, I got to leave my wife, I got to leave my 21-month-old. That is hard for me. So I have to, like, when I go out there, I'm out there. I'm not playing around. I'm out there to do the work. And I just told you what the work is, to encourage and motivate people. So that's a long way of saying, if someone else wants to reach out to Ashley Cook, who handles the coordination of events, and you have another group of people that need inspiration or need some direction. Get you a group. Well, there you go. Then get us a group. If May 17th doesn't work for your group, then let's get a group. We will talk some more seriously, because I'm going to be out in that area. I'll be in Boston for a couple days too, and I'll also be out in Baltimore, DC, where I have a speaking event. And yeah, I mean, my message is one that's just a piece of all of the bigger messages that everyone has. And yeah, I just want to share that wherever I can. So if you guys can get me an opportunity to slay shame, then I'm all over. And Rob, by the way, I'm so happy to hear that. Rob, who I was just telling you about, Rob says he's in, so he's going to be on the show. And Rob, we have some cool ideas. You're in Sacramento, so we could actually do the interview in person. We could actually find a way. We could do a contest where we can get some people in the audience. I got some ideas for that, Rob. Stay tuned. Some people are saying, wow. There you go. Very deep. Thank you. Your wife is a saint, Armando. That needs to be said probably just for 1 week, we'll just do an hour of talking about that, or maybe she could tell her story. She is a saint. I was gonna say puts up with me, which she does, but she also allows me the time like tonight, to go and to do this, what I feel called to do. And yeah, she's behind the scenes. Without her doing the heavy lifting, I couldn't do it. So thank you, yes, so much. When and where in Baltimore? Ashley, if you could drop in the link to that, but I think that's that Monday, May 21st. If that Monday, it's right around there. It's the week before Memorial Day, and it'll be at Cloud 10 Transformation Centers. That will be in the DC Baltimore area. Nikki Nordstrom Joyce. I like that
Yeah,
name. Nikki Nordstrom Joyce. That's a cool
she's
name,
someone
man.
to watch out for. She's someone to watch out for.
She's kind of fierce.
She's rewriting her story. She is working on it.
Okay.
She's doing good.
I'm gonna keep you on my radar, Nikki Nordstrom Joyce. That name's great. Every time I hear your story, BJ, you remind me of my why. Yes. Oh yeah. I love that. And that's so big, to be reminded of our whys. We need to hold it in front of our face and just see it every single day. On the hard days, it'll give us perspective. On the good days, it'll give us perspective. But that's what it's all about.
I want to also add that, so as I've progressed my journey from 2.5 years ago till now, and doing the boot camp and working as hard as I do it every single morning. That's the first thing I do, because the first thing I do in the morning is take care of myself. The first thing I do is, when that plane is crashing, I put the air mask on myself first, so every single morning. And, I'm not going to try to say, look at me, look what I can do. I'm doing it just for me and for my health. And then when it's about 2 hours of workout that I do between running and boot camp, or just running. And then I come home, and then I'm present for my son. And then once I'm done, take him on to go to school, then I'm present for my job all day. And then at the end of the day, I am present for my family. So that's how every day is. And then I get up the next day and I do it again. And there's some days that, like tomorrow morning, I'm going to deviate from taking care of myself in the morning, only because I'll need to rest longer, and that's something I need to do for myself tomorrow. But Thursday morning, I'm going to be right back at it. And I'm not doing it, and I don't want people, and whenever I post about it, I really don't want people to think that I'm saying, look at me, look at what I'm doing. I'm saying, what I'm really saying is, look at me, I'm doing this. You can do it too.
That's so, you say so many important things. What I would say in response to that is, it's that act of putting yourself first, truly. Like the way you structure your day is what I hear you saying. And how vital is that? So many people, they have those priorities flipped backwards, and they think in order for them to be the best for their family must come first, and they must come last. And you've really flipped that and said, in order for me to be the best version of me for others, I must take care of me. I must give myself the oxygen first. And by the way, we talk about things that we can look, and sometimes in therapy we do family trees, and we'll look at family trees and we'll see a theme, and we'll see that theme go back generations upon generations upon generations. One of the themes that stopped with you, BJ, is the theme of mom putting herself last. It's pretty cool.
She did, yeah.
But for you, what I'm saying is that stopped with you, right? Like your kids, your son is going to grow up seeing mom makes herself a priority. And I think that's so cool, because that was you not just rewriting your story, but rewriting your family's story.
Right. And I mean, I do have some guilt, because sometimes I don't want it to feel like it's always about me. And so, like, on the weekends, again, I do it early in the morning again, so that I can be present for the day. And there's some days that I'm gone a little bit longer doing what I'm doing for myself, only because I'm training for Leadville, and then hopefully a full marathon this fall. But yeah, I do struggle with some guilt of it, is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, I know that. And that is the tough thing, I think, because I just don't think we talk about it enough. I don't think we talk through the guilt with other parents who can experience the same thing. I don't think we talk about it enough, even with our families, about, dialogue about the fact that guilt even exists. And so I think all of that is important to acknowledge and talk through, because it's tough. You're driven, and you're out there to inspire other people. and you need to put yourself first in order to do that and to be there for your family. But how do you find the balance? I think that's something that, yeah, you're just constantly figuring out as you go.
Right. I mean, you're gonna be going through that when you're away traveling. Like, you're
I
gonna have the
feel it.
guilt of being away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I feel it. Yeah. Even like tonight, I feel it. Like it's that tough thing of, like you can justify and know what you're doing is really good, but at the same time, there's a part of you goes, but yeah, I'm not there. And so I think what we need to do with that again is acknowledge it and talk about it, but also on top of that, we need to make our time away count. And like when I think about it,
Yes.
you're getting up and you're putting yourself and your body first to extend the finish line out for you. You're not just getting up and binge watching Orange is the New Black or something like that. You're doing something good for yourself or doing something good for others. So so that's so important. BJ, I just want to thank you so much for this interview tonight. Thank you first for your patience because I really wanted to have you on at the beginning of when the show started, and I know that it's for whatever reason that did not happen. And I just
That's
thank
all
you
right.
for
Yeah.
being patient, and I just appreciate
There's
you
so many
coming
people.
on tonight. But there's so many people. But like I said last week, I'm really a big believer. We need to really showcase the fierce women out there. Not that we need to make it even about gender, men and women, but I do believe that it's important for us to really highlight and showcase the stories of the amazing, strong women. In part because when I look at the numbers of who's watching and tuning in, we have a lot of women that are tuning in,
Yeah,
and so I
there is.
want a lot of people. We resonate a lot when we hear similarities in our stories, but also when the person that we're seeing in front of us, we feel like we can relate to in even deeper ways. So I'm so glad that you were able to be here
Me too.
tonight. I'm so glad that you're booking a second event for us in New Jersey. We'll talk more about the details. And yeah, like I was gonna say, I'm so glad that you talked me into running Leadville, but I don't know about that. The guilt is strong, but I'm gonna see you guys at some point, and I will be running. I will see you soon, but I will be seeing you guys in terms of a running event at some point very soon, because I can't miss out on some of those opportunities to just spend time with you guys and just see what the community is all about. It's one thing to experience it like this, but to actually experience it in person, I bet is just ridiculously amazing. Yeah.
I'm just going for the food, the potlucks on Thursday and
Oh,
Friday
well,
night.
okay. You didn't even mention. You didn't even mention. Yeah,
Oh,
like the
yeah.
SOS food. Oh my gosh! Like I get to meet Sharon. I don't know. I didn't say that. I said that like last week too. I'm like a little kid. I get to meet Sharon. I get to meet Sharon when I'm out there too. I'll meet her when I'm in the Baltimore area, and she's going to take me to an Indian SOS lunch. So
Yeah,
I can't
yeah.
wait for that.
I know where she's
Man,
taking you. So
is it? Yeah.
I know I haven't been there yet, but I've seen her post about it.
Okay.
But I do want to say that you said that all the people that were commenting, you were wondering why they all hear from me. But a lot of these people that are commenting here are other members of Chef AJ's Ultimate Weight Loss program.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I'll post a link to that. But Chef AJ's program, like I said, it's only $149.99. But it's just a really good community. But I love that you're putting together a program that has a great community, and I love watching your transformation. So
thank you so much. And you know what? That's the cool thing is that the program that I have is really, really heavily focused on the rewriting your story, the emotional components, the relationship components, your relationship with food, all of that. And Chef AJ's program is going to touch on a lot of that too, but it's gonna give you stuff that mine does not have. And so I definitely want to encourage people. We had Chef AJ on the show. She's absolutely amazing, and I would say
yeah.
get in her community, get in front of her program all day long, 100%. And yeah, just go over there. And again, you never know just by reaching out to someone. That was something else I took from what you said, that what you might get in return, and how cool it was. You reached out to her, she reached back. So again, thank you guys all for tuning in tonight. If you are new to this page, one of the things that we would love for you to do would be to like the page. It helps in the algorithm. It's not for our vanity in terms of numbers. It truly is that the more people that like this darn page, the more that we go out and get broadcast to the masses. And we want people to hear this story of empowerment. The other thing is share this broadcast if you can. We would really appreciate it. BJ, again, the blog is Judgy Jersey Girl. Is it .org or .com? I can't remember. Which one was it?
It's veggie.
Veggie. Oh, I need to put the left one in because the right one has issues. Now we're good. So it's veggie Jersey Girl.
Veggie, yes. Dot
Okay.
com.
.com. Veggie Jersey Girl.com. Even though earlier in the interview, if you missed it, she said, California, I don't know if I'm going to go there, but I'm going to go to New Jersey. You know, us people out in California, we're very open-minded, and we can't wait to experience the East Coast, except the snow. We'll let you guys have that. But anyway, it's been so awesome catching up with you, and I can't wait to meet you in person, and we'll talk some more, catch up with your spirit animal, Ashley, and we'll figure out the details, but definitely we'll find a way to meet when we're up there.
Yes, we will. Okay. Thank you. It was great.
Thank you so much. So good talking to you. And we'll do it again. Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. I just want to tell you guys again, every single week I leave with energy. My day today started it started early, like I don't know, was it 6:30 a.m.? My first videos I recorded actually were outside, and I was recording some videos. We have some new content for the Rewriting My Story program that BJ mentioned. You can find it on my website, drmondo.org. And we were recording some new videos for that. Those videos are going to be used for this program, and they're also going to be used for a new book that's coming out later this year, which I cannot wait for. And so anyway, that's how my day started. And then I had another Facebook Live this afternoon at 4 o'clock my time. And then I was doing this, and I'll tell you that they say that when you do what you love, it's never a day or a minute of work. That is truly, truly the case. I'm so energized tonight by BJ's story. Again, my takeaways as I get a chance to reflect for a moment here is just the fact that BJ grew up overweight. BJ had a family history of obesity, a family history of people dying prematurely due to health conditions, family history of diabetes, heart conditions. And all of that is probably enough for most of us to think that we're probably next. And BJ got to watch, sadly, each of her family members pass away prematurely at young ages due to their health. And it would have been really easy for BJ, being overweight, watching everyone in her family pass away, dealing with five miscarriages, to at some point just say, I guess I'm meant to be next. But she didn't. She had the power to do everything that we talk about on this broadcast, which is rewrite her story. It was not about weight loss for her. I hope you caught that. If you didn't, rewind it, rewatch it. It was not about weight loss for her. It was about making sure that she could transform her life in a way that she would show up for her son, she would show up for her family, she would show up in this world differently than in some ways what she saw growing up. Isn't that what we all want? Like, if we got kids, don't we want our kids to do better than we did and to figure out some of the things that tripped us up and be able to navigate those a little bit better? I think I speak from my perspective, but I would say that if I had to guess, if I had any guess in the world, that if BJ's mom were to be watching her now, put the oxygen mask on first, that she would be very proud of her. I'm definitely proud of her, and I know that so many people who tuned in tonight are as well. Share BJ's story. If it inspired you tonight, leave a comment below. Tell us what you took away. We are back next week with a very special presentation of rewriting my story with Dr. Mondo. We have alluded to the fact that we are going on an East Coast slaying shame, #slaying shame tour. And we are going to be in New Jersey. We're going to be in Boston. We're going to be in New York. We're going to also be in DC and Baltimore. That's all happening like in 6 days. It's going to happen in, like 6 or 7 days, but it'll be a 6-day trip. It's all going to happen in a short period of time. So again, we're on a mission right now to get out there. And if you're in any of those cities, make sure that you find a way
to link up with us. We want to encourage you. We want to inspire you. If you're on the sidelines right now, we want to get in front of you, and we want to encourage you to get back in the game, because that's what this program is all about. That's what this movement is all about. So again, share this page, tell people why it inspired you, and never forget that I'm always blown away. The people that you don't think are watching are watching. You know, I find that a lot with this broadcast. People will say something to me, and they'll say, you know, hey, I was inspired by fill in the blank. I mean, it happened to me last week with someone that I'm friends with, and I hadn't seen in a while. And you have no clue. Like BJ said, it's not that I need the pat on the back to say, oh, you know, good job. It's more just to say, wow, like there's something in my heart that I feel like I was put on this earth to try to help and encourage people. Like BJ, it's almost like some of us just are born positive and optimistic, and we really want to encourage others right now that are having a hard time seeing life in that sort of light. So when I hear that that's happening, it inspires me. So again, if you share this, you don't know who might watch it. It's not about this page, Dr. Mondo. It's about a bigger movement. We are rewriting our story, all of us. You're worthy, you're lovable, you're enough. You're not defined by the number on the scale. You're not defined by any numbers, as a matter of fact. And this broadcast encourages us to be vulnerable and believe we're enough, we're stronger, we're evolving. Those are some of the core tenets of what we believe about rewriting your story. Tune in next week. I think I got lost there. What I wanted to say basically is this. Sorry, it's been a long day. Next Tuesday's broadcast, we're going to have someone from the very gym, the Lift Gym in New Jersey, who's going to be hosting us and hosting that event. We're going to be doing media with them. Matt Jennings is going to be on the broadcast next week. He is the owner of Lift Gym, and he's also going to have on the broadcast with him someone very, very special, very, very courageous, someone that is saying, I'm wanting to rewrite my story. I just don't know where to start. I'm in a position where I feel hopeless. Can you imagine that? Some of you are watching right now, and you're sharing that you're at, you know, stage one again of your transformation, or that's how it feels, at least. Can you imagine if you were that person and you jumped on Facebook Live to share your story? So we're going to go out and actually help this person when we're in New Jersey. We're going out there for her. We're going out there for him. There's going to be multiple people on the broadcast next week. Tune in for more inspiration. Tune in to hear a story just like yours and know that you can rewrite your story. This is Dr. Mondo. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'll see you on Thursday. If you have your questions, tune back in on Thursday. We will have some office hours where I will take just your questions for an entire half hour. That happens at 4 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 o'clock if you're on the East Coast, 8 o'clock if you're in Central Time. If you're in Australia, like Mr. Andrew Spudfit, I don't know what time it is, but it's probably the next day and it's probably morning. So Google it or something. But we'll see you guys soon and have a great night.